Yes, today I want to tell you a few stories about how in a very positive way we can actually influence our health and well-being. It has been a major part of my own journey to discover this. It hasn't always been an easy one, but I was always intrigued about it. How could we do it? It is a combination of the body, mind, soul and spirit, and also to be willing to take responsibility for our own creations. So when we get sick, for whatever reason, no one is standing next to our head and tells us, well, you are sick now and now you have to feel miserable. No, I have learned in my life that when certain health challenges do occur, I'm asking myself from what is emotionally involved, what is the underlying cause emotionally as well, what actually contributed towards this particular challenge in my health, and what can I do in order to change it. Now, and what can I learn from it, because that's a very important part too. And when you learn to put all those issues together, you actually can start to take charge of your own health. We all die one day, but the way we live our own life is a choice how we can do, no matter what the circumstances are. It is our thoughts, our feelings, etc., where we can have charge over and choose to actually direct it in a more positive way. It hasn't always been easy in my own life, but I've also seen the rewarding impact of it. So the interesting thing that I want to talk about today, and I didn't realize that for a long time, that when we talk about health, and people always say, oh, that runs in my genes, and my father had it, my mother had it, or who else had it, that's usually only looked upon certain labels what can be given in the health field or the medicine field. The bottom line is also that we have genetically, emotionally patterns installed in us from the moment we are being conceived in the womb. It becomes very, very interesting once you start to realize that. It has been a real eye-opener for me. And through that awareness, I've also learned how I can break those basically patterns. And that is very, very powerful. Now, I give you some insights on how first certain things happened in my own life, some examples. See, when my mother, when she was under stress, she always ended up in hospital because she believed that was the only place where she could have a break from the stress. And she would be looked after, she would be cared for, and her loved ones would pay attention. Isn't that interesting? But it was a very powerful pattern what had been transferred, I know for myself, also into my basically subconscious mind. So I did exactly the same. The many times that I have been admitted in hospital, and in the end they asked me, do you come for admittance or for a visit? But it was years and years later when I had actually moved to Australia and I remarried, and then during the night I woke up with very high fever, and I said to my husband, I have to go to the hospital. And I went to the hospital, and because they didn't know exactly what was happening, they put me on the drip and they said to me, well, as long as we don't know what this very high fever is caused by, we have to keep you here. When I was in my private room, I started to reflect upon from why was this happening, and suddenly I had a major breakthrough in my heart and realized this was exactly what my mother was doing when she was under stress. She always, without exemption, she ended up in a hospital. And most of the times there was an operation or some other things happening. When I had that realization and I made a choice, I call that a fundamental choice. when I made this fundamental choice that I could change this pattern, 3 days later I was out of the hospital, and since then I've never been back in again. That's really interesting. But it is important to recognize it. Also, there was another pattern that my mother had. My mother, during the day, when she thought she needed a break, for her it was always time to smoke a cigarette and to have a cup of coffee. And I did the same for many years, up until I realized what I was doing. And then was not an effort at all. I stopped smoking and overnight virtually, and also other things what I realized which were connected with it. And it is very powerful when you recognize how you can actually change it. So I will tell you one last little example. You know, years ago, when I basically had to learn to stand on my own feet, if I can put it like that, and I broke away from a business partner, the thing was that when I got home, I had the most incredible pains in my right leg, and then my left leg came, and I was curled up in bed and I couldn't move. And then I realized these legs are telling me that there is a fear of standing on my own 2 legs and moving forward. And once I recognized this, that this was a major contributing factor to what was happening, basically in a few hours' time I would stretch my legs again and all the pain was gone. Now, everyone can experience things in different ways, but in the times where we are living, I think it is very important that when we go on an excursion through which we can learn and discover how we can take charge of our own health, and also about the direction of our health in which we would like it to go, then we can have actually major transformational experiences happening. And it doesn't come overnight. I mean, I will be very soon 70 years, and I must tell you, I didn't have all those insights when I was 30 or 40, never when I was 50. I started to get little sniffs of that when I grew older, but I didn't have the same insights what I have now. And where I am at now, I've made a decision to make a series of those videos and to help people, to educate them and help them to understand a lot of things. Health is a very exciting area to be in, and it is basically a combination. If I need a GP, I go to a GP. I'm a clinical nutritionist, and 10 years ago I was exposed to a very, very exciting way of actually analyzing the pathology, and I apply that for myself too, because if I cannot apply it to myself, how on earth can I teach people? That is impossible. Anyhow, this is my first little video as far as the series concerns, and I am going to talk about different topics as well. Now, if you are interested to hear from me talking about different issues and what my version about it is, you can send me an email to Helena at helenaiderveen.com and put in the subject line a question for a video, and then I can basically respond to that and will produce another little video based upon the request which I will receive. Okay, so I hope you have a wonderful, glorious day, and take care till the next time.